This is Darkcity Radio.
This is your Darkcity. This is your Darkcity.
This is your Darkcity.
This is your Darkcity. This is your Darkcity.
This is your Darkcity Radio.
Good evening, Darkcity Radio. Welcome to the Permaculture Show. I can't believe it's here again. That week has just gone like that. It's amazing. It feels like 2 seconds ago. Okay, Bob Earthwise is joining me this evening. Hi, Bob.
Hiya, how you all doing?
You alright? Bosto's here as well. Hi, Bosto.
Good evening.
And Bob's producing. Hello, Bob.
Hello. Excuse me, I was muted.
That's okay. Well, it's been a bit iffy weather-wise here this week. We've had a lot of rain. Temperature's been a bit low. How's it been down south, Bob?
It's been not too bad here. We've had a bit of rain, but where I am is in the lee of the Purbeck, so loads of it gets poured down on the Purbecks, and luckily we missed lots of it. So yeah, it's been not too bad here at all.
Oh, good. Well, the upside is I haven't had to water the allotment. So what with the mulch, it's all holding water quite well, so that's good. The strawberries are coming on really well. I haven't harvested any yet though, but the wild strawberries are just coming through. Been watching the little one going out there and picking those. It's lovely to see. And the garlic's just about ready. So I'm really dying to pick that. And the nasturtiums, they're still quite small, so I'm having to resist the urge to pick those, because I'll do what I do to the wild garlic and eat it all before it has a chance to flower. We've been getting the veg bags from the local community allotment though. They're really nice. They've got 5 polytunnels up there. So we've been getting broad beans from them. And yeah, they've had a really good crop so far this year. What else did you have in there? The potatoes are really nice. They've been growing these they're Jersey potatoes, but they're quite big. They're lovely. And the name of it's totally gone out of my head. That's ridiculous. Beetroot. That's the one. We've had beetroot in there. So, yeah. So, no, I haven't harvested a great deal this week. I've got the dandelion champagne, though. I've been drinking that. It's actually really nice.
Well, it sounds excellent. What sort of, does it have a yellowy colour?
Yeah. It's got a real pale yellow. It's really easy to make this champagne as well, you know. It's a good one to test that. Oh, I'm bouncing back off you, I think, Bob. It's all going a bit robotic. So it's a good, because it's made really quickly, within a matter of, a few weeks, it's a good one to test out taste and see if you like it before you go to the effort of making a wine. So it was literally water, lemons and the flower heads, and then leaving it to steep for a couple of days, and then bottling it up for a couple of weeks. So it's really fizzy. I wonder if you'll hear it on the thing if I open that. I can't believe how fizzy it is. I don't know if you... Let me pour some out. Can you hear the fizz?
Yeah, that's really funny, this end.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Although, you've got some in your fridge, haven't you, Bob? And it was hissing at him this morning from the fridge. It's apparently growing, so it seems like it might be taking on a life of its own. So you might make it at your own risk. I don't know. But no, it's fascinating me though, that chemical process there, how all that air's in just from such a simple, isn't it amazing? I said it before, it's like compost. No, those kind of chemical processes amaze me. Even now, after composting all those years, when you open it up and all the composts at the bottom. It's fascinating. Why wasn't chemistry that interesting at school? I don't know.
No, it's just the processes that the planet uses to look after itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, the complexity of it, really. But it happens totally naturally without really very much intervention by man at all.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. It's complex yet effortless, isn't it? That's the beauty of nature, I think. Yeah. It's fascinating.
And the beauty of permaculture, of course.
Yeah.
Because,
definitely.
It requires way less effort than monoculture strip gardening, and the results are more bounteous, I think.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Well, I've been really getting into wildflowers lately. I think it's kind of a step on from doing all the foraging and picking all the wild greens. So I've got a couple of patches now that I'm kind of gently managing, I think is the word. So it's really just letting what comes up come up. Because I tell you what, when you do that, it's amazing the amount of bees that I've had just in the garden. Because in the garden at home, I've just got speedwell and vetch and clover and forget-me-not, red campion. And they're all, in fact, the red campion is amazing because I think the cultivated varieties are called Celine. They have bred them on. But the wild variety, it's just amazing. It's just like a big sea of cerise. And, the insects absolutely love it. So, it's not cultivating, is it? It's just letting nature happen. All I was doing from those patches really was thinning out the grass. But then I even started to think about that and about native grass. So it is actually quite pretty, isn't it? Native grass.
Most of the things that do grow here indigenously are amazing. And they're adapted to all the various temperature changes we have. Who's that? Is that Barry?
Yeah, somebody just rang my telephone number.
Oh, excuse me, Barry. I meant to pull BJ in. My mistake. I've pulled the wrong person into the chat. BJ's been having... Excuse me, Barry. My mistake. My apologies, Barry. BJ has been having some great success with his garden. He was just texting me, Nari, so I was meant to bring BJ in. My apologies.
Okay. I know when I'm not wanted.
Oh, you can
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hi, BJ.
Hi,
Tell us about
Nearest.
Hello. Tell us about your garden, then.
Well, I'm here in Switzerland with the other.
Yes.
And he started last year with some success and some failure. And that was in the back of the house, in a greenhouse, and set up an aquaponic system. But it's the first time he set it up. Then we transplanted everything from there to the front of the house. But it's fucking like in 1 square meter, okay, by say 200 liters of water, 150 liters of grow bed. We got four tomato bushes growing, about 7 cauliflower, and 3 cucumbers, celery. But this was just like throwing the seeds in there,
Yeah.
and to see what happens, but it's fucking kicked off like a treat, And now where I'm working in, because we built a dome last year, a 5-meter dome. And in the dome, we're putting in 3 grow beds 2 float beds, and also we'll have hanging aquaponics in there as well. But the other thing is we got avocado growing as well now. They sprouted in the float bed. We just put some holes in, and we put some avocados in there, and they sprouted. They sprouted like. Yeah, it's a bit of work, but I think, and also the lettuce, it tastes like silk, you know? It's like so smooth on your tongue. And, it's a different ball game when it comes to aquaponics, eating the food from aquaponics. It's totally different. It's unbelievable. It really is. The texture, the taste, the freshness is there because you just go outside and pick it. But, you know, I was speaking with Bob earlier on. I said, oh shit, the tomatoes are not fucking flowering, you know. It's been a month, you know, it's flowered and they're not fruiting. And, last, say, week ago, everything started to fruit. There's a shitload of tomatoes going to come out of there in that little space. And we got about 27 fish in there. It's very good, trust me.
Are you going to eat the fish as well, or?
Well, well in the dome we're gonna have what's that in the front we got goldfish, okay, and in the dome we will have what's that one? What's it called again? Not tilapia, but it's another one from. It's a big one, big fish. Can't remember the fucking name of it now. But anyway, forget about that. When it comes to me, I'll tell you. It's like a chub.
Right.
It's an angler's fish, you know. It's a big fish. And also gonna look into growing prawns as well, and crayfish and stuff like that. I'm going to look into it. Need to do a little bit more research on that. But I think the main thing is with aquaponics, one is energy efficient. Also, you only use say 80% of the water, and also low maintenance. The only thing that you need to take care of is the fish. And there is no chemicals whatsoever in the food. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it does really, you can taste the difference. I've got strawberries growing in there. I've got haricot beans growing in there. I've got basil growing in there. Some trying aniseed, but we're starting everything off from organic seed. So we're not buying anything that has been bought from the what do you call it, garden center, except for the lettuce that we tried for the first time. We just put some small lettuce in there to try it out. But the next lot that we've done is all from seed. Everything is from seed.
Excellent. I'll just jump in there actually, because someone's asking about the seed bank in the chat room. So are you planning to collect the seed from yours?
We are gonna. We will. Once we get into full swing, we will start collecting it. We will let some of our plants flower and collect seeds. Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Someone's asking if there's a seed bank in the UK. We've got a group on Facebook, which just is a seed exchange. It's just literally there for people to join, to chat to each other, say what they've got and swap them. We've got a local community seed bank, which, as we've chatted about before, I think is so important now for many reasons. And I've been posting them out as well.
but you're dealing mainly with permaculture, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, mainly permaculture. We're going totally away from soil.
Mm. See, I love soil,
there are, pardon?
I love soil.
I like soil. I got at the back of the dome. There's about 5 square meters of gardening space. I got the potatoes in there. I got the onions, the red and white onions. I got the garlic, and things like that. I'll grow outside. But what I want to look into a little bit more is to be able to grow root vegetables in sand. But I don't know how that's going to work in aquaponics, because me and Yabo were discussing that earlier on because of the filtering of the sand. But as I see what's happening in our world, as in, first of all, the planet is totally contaminated. The soil, the topsoil is all contaminated, okay, because it's been used insecticides, pesticides, and also with the GMO seeds, okay, and that's a big failure. Now, for us to replenish the soil, we need to change all the soil. We need to change all the topsoil. Then our groundwater is contaminated, okay? Our groundwater is contaminated. So the only way to do this is by actually doing aquaponics. If you want to secure your food security with low maintenance, and if there is going to be some kind of within the next 5, 10, 15 years, going to be some kind of a pole shift, which I think is coming, and the world is in havoc. 1 minute you're 60 degrees this way, next minute you're 20 degrees the other way. But the main thing is people need to be very much aware of what's actually going on, and actually take a step back from Earth and look at something that is more productive. Because now, 2 weeks ago, about 10 days ago, we had a hailstorm here. Okay, everything that I planted outside in the garden, we had hailstones the size of marbles, where we are 1,200 feet above sea level. But further down, they had hailstones the size of golf balls. And if that becomes a regular occurrence in the coming future, we got problems growing food outside, mate. You understand? Everything that I had inside is safe.
No.
So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things to really take into consideration. Even to have a little, say for example, if you have an apartment, is to have a 1 square meter a bed in there, with a fish tank underneath it. If you cycle it correctly, you can get quite a lot out of it. Because if you look at the tomatoes, for example, you'll have a regular supply of tomatoes. Your cucumbers, once they started flowering and you stick a vine up and a net up where they can climb, that'll always grow. All these things that flower and pick, that is the sort of things that you can grow in aquaponics. But in the earth cycle, your season is finished, And you have to replant. But this way, it's continuous.
I'd just like to come in on that, BJ, and the type of system you're describing doesn't really look after the environment. It will look after you and the fish.
No, it does actually. Believe me or not, it actually does. There's nothing in there that is contaminant. Nothing. Absolutely zero.
That is what I meant. It's not looking after all the other creatures that are dependent on there being a clean planet. It's very limited amount of species that you're looking after, whereas with permaculture, it's trying to hold all the species that are around and to clean up the planet.
I agree with you to a certain extent, okay? But we get because the windows open in and out, they all get pollinated, all the insects come in, yeah? By growing also the food that we grow, we don't use any of it as well.
I think we've lost BJ's audio there.
Oh, I thought it might have been me that had gone for a minute then. No, well, I would have to fall with you, Bob, really, because, you know, I'm a nature girl, so...
I think, Nerisse, if I can, there's a little bit of... the idea of the system that BJ is talking about is not to compete against permaculture. Permaculture, I totally agree with. I mean, I've walked around the allotment site with you, and I'm like, well, we need to do it here, because that's where it's usable. But the system BJ's describing actually produces earth. That's what it does. It actually makes organic, pure organic soil. Soil. That's exactly how they actually work. So, what you could use is, if we can incorporate these ideas, all BJ's done is taken the Victorian greenhouse and brought it into the 21st century. So it really is. I don't think there should be. These aren't in competition. One isn't better than the other. In the BJ's, really, if you've got land, I'd say grow in the land, grow in the soil and under the direct sun if you can. But as the environment changes, as you've got changeable environments, then the systems need to be adapted for the environments. So originally, the systems I got into were for disaster areas. They could be unrolled down the side of a shipping container, and they could be producing food in a famine area in a matter of. I'm getting feedback off you there, BJ. So they could be produced. You could be producing food in a famine area. Now, of course, the long term, what we need to do. No, you're speaking of me, BJ. One second. On the long term, Nerisse, what we need to do is have permaculture there permanently. You see, the only reason we're having to do these kinds of things within hydroponics and aquaponics, mainly aquaponics. Hydroponics is not organic. But so within aquaponics is actually returning back to the natural cycle. It's mimicking the natural cycle. So mine's actually outdoors, Bob. It's not indoors, so it's fully open to the elements. So it does incorporate the natural bacteria that need to be created. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, Nerisse, I'll give it back to you. I just wanted to fill that in because a lot of the time within these gardening circles, there seems to be some kind of this is better than that, and I totally don't go down there, mate. I think they need to be incorporated together, and you know we've got it. If permaculture was in famine areas, they wouldn't have the famine. So yeah, that's what I see.
Bob, you made a classic statement there, right? You're talking about famine areas. If we look at the amount of money that United Nations or any other organization spends to send food out there, yeah, this system can be up and running within a year, okay, efficiently, okay? Just think, after that, it's self-sufficient. You understand what I'm saying? They put millions. They send millions to feed millions. But what they're doing, they're just, and all that extra energy, people, transport, logistics, you know, is to set up these stations in areas like this and places like you say in warmer countries. You could set up an aquaponic system outdoors, which is exposed to the but you're not using earth. It's so much easier. It's not about getting your hands dirty. I love to get my hands dirty as and when I can, but I'm looking at what is cost effective, efficient, and totally pure.
Well, that would be the earth under the sun then, BJ. There's no more cost effective than that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know?
So really, the systems we are talking about are not cost effective compared to what Nerisse is talking. On that line alone, permaculture has got us beaten hands down. They don't have to invest anything into the environment.
Nothing.
Where we have had to. So
it's like Holster, you know. It's like Holster. What he's done in Austria, 900 meters above sea level. He's the leading specialist in permaculture because he has actually studied nature, and he's put in plants in there that animals like, and they leave the food that humans that are going for human consumption alone. It's actually through observation. You see, when he's actually
really, really fascinating because the methods he's created are so suitable to the area in which he lives. Those Hugel culture beds.
But Nerys, we have to look at, right?
Yeah.
Which is something that I don't know whether you've noticed it over the last 5 years. The change in the weather has been drastic. Okay.
Yes.
And
of the gardener.
We need. And also, if we look at the supermarkets, people are. The consumers are basically looking at off-season food supply on a regular basis. But you can have all this in aquaponics. You really can. On your doorstep. You can have it all.
But the turnaround's quite quick. And, it is quite interesting, even relevant in the UK, because I think we've got about 3 food banks in my immediate area now. And the shit that they give out is horrific, But having said that, we've got the local community allotment. They've got 5 polytunnels now. I'm getting a massive bag of veg out of there. But I think I've contemplated, but I'm echoing back to myself. That's so horrible. Don't like it.
Nerys, you're looking at your allotment, right? Your allotment season is up to 6 months, yeah?
Well, it depends. It's the stock permaculture.
No, but you understand? Say 5 months then. Okay, but with aquaponics, you're 365 days a year. And all you're using is a pump. Yeah. That's it.
I think Bob's right, really. I don't think it should be a case of either or, and I don't think there should be a,
No, but your BJ is completely wrong there, Nerys. Your data is completely wrong. Victorians, grew outside 365 days a year. That's what actually happened, Nerys. So, he's not bang on there. Of course, you can accelerate using Victorian growing techniques, but that really has got nothing to do.
We have automatic windows.
No, you're just being cut off. Hang on, BJ. Yeah. Just thank you. So the fact that the Victorians were doing this and aquaponics has not actually made any difference there, Nerys, at all. It hasn't changed it. We can still grow 365 days a year outdoors in Britain and under glass, of course, which BJ is using. Are you with me? So it's just the same as a Victorian. All what's happened is we've added fish and a circulative system. That's it. Nothing else. Yeah. And I would actually suspect if you actually look at the ancient gardens that were kicking around, they were using aquaponics way before.
So 4,000 years ago.
No, hang on. Well, BJ, if you shout over it, just the people can't hear us.
Sorry.
It's okay, man. I know you're passionate. It's okay. It's not a new thing. It really isn't. I think you find that sometimes outlandish claims get made. And when I first got into aquaponics, people they were trying to patent the bell siphon, and make out it was their bell siphon and so forth, which I had to point out to them. It was used in the Victorian water management systems within sewerage plants. So, the claim that they were using it in a water management system called aquaponics is completely fake. This is people trying to reinvent the wheel. And just as another sideline, I am, for the aquaponics work I've actually done, I am more famous on the internet for the U-siphon and the explanation how a gent's urinal works on a Korean toilet fetish site. You never know where your information's going to take you.
Hey, Bob, now you're going back to the siphons, yeah? Do you know what I used? I used a 50 millimeter pipe. It's filling up 200 millimeters, okay? And the distance I had from the top of the outlet to the top of the cap was about 15 to 18 millimeters. That's it. And that was sufficient to start it and stop it. No more than that.
Yeah, I'm reluctant to get into any more aquaponics on Narice's permaculture show, really. Especially, to be honest, Pacifics in the heady that needs to be created to form a siphon, because that's what it actually is. And then it'll work in all weathers, and it will work 365 years of the year. Anyway, Narice, please.
I don't mind if you want to chat. It's all relevant. I'm still coming back to myself. It's horrible. I don't like it.
Well, Narice, one thing I wanted to chat to you about on a different vein altogether was wormeries.
Yes.
My daughter-in-law has just got hold of a wormery from Free Cycle, and there was a competition between her and a guy who likes fishing. And he was going to use the worms to go fishing. And, of course, the woman that had the wormery was quite upset that would be the fate of her worms. So looks like Barb's has got the wormery and wants to put it into the school, her local school, where Tora, my grandson, goes. And just wondered whether you got any tips, really, that we can go and talk to the school about. Obviously, then they've got quite a large area that they could use to grow, but they're not going to be into doing permaculture over all of it. But it may be a little gentle lesson, and I just wondered whether you'd got any ideas and tips on that we could take up there and hopefully persuade them to look at a wider view of growing for the sake of the kids. Yeah,
well, I think the danger with schools is, I've seen this in a number of gardens, that obviously a lot of things that crop in the summer holidays. So the kids start off all this stuff and they never get to actually harvest any of it. So I think, I know they do a bit in schools anyway. Wildlife is, I'm bouncing back off you, Bob. It's horrible. I can hear myself.
Okay, I'll mute.
Okay.
I'll just jump in when it's...
if you just mute when somebody else is talking, Bob, we won't get the problem, bro.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so I think the wildlife is a great place to start, and I can remember doing that at school, which was years ago. I can remember doing it at junior school, so it must have had a massive impact on me. We just went down and got a cup of soil and looked through it to look at the insects and look at the soil and stuff. And yeah, in regards to growing, so I think quicker turnaround stuff like radishes and spring onions and that kind of thing, and wildflowers are the kind of, and wild strawberries, the kind of hardy things that they can just bung in, because I know all my kids love just being able to go and pick stuff off like that. So yeah, but having a wormery is fantastic. In fact, I can see Felipe's just jumped on as well. Hi, Felipe.
Hi there, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just going to go into the fact that I saw the most amazing wormery this week. I had the most magical experience. I'm so glad to chat to you about Felipe as well, because I know you've been. I went to visit this most amazing garden. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, we met a lovely guy called Winston, and he was talking about us going to visit a few people, going to visit his garden, and which we were all up for. Little did we know, it was just in Handsworth in Birmingham, just a terrace place, and then I went out the back, and there was just sort of the courtyard, and he got all these cuttings and seedlings and herbs, and he was just going, yeah, that's for that, I'll make this for that. And then we went further down, and there were more herbs and shrubs. And then it went even further back, and they were like, it was like the Garden of Eden. It was absolutely phenomenal. There were cherries, there were plums, there was just everything. You got, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, ginkgo bilinka. Is that, I don't know. And elder. And then I went round the corner and it opened out again. It was absolutely huge. It was phenomenal. Felipe, you've got to have, over 100 herbs, if not more.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I mean, because it's like, his passion is medicinal as well, so it was like a whole, like you say, Garden of Eden of like, medicinal and edible plants, but it was just, yeah, and his knowledge is absolutely incredible of the plants and the different medicinal qualities of, if you combine certain plants and, he's found sort of cures for all sorts of stuff that medical science hasn't, discovered yet. But it's amazing. One of these people who just kind of beavers away, quietly, and then suddenly, there's potential really to really kind of expand that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, but he'd got an amazing wormery, hadn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. God. Yeah. Because he's telling me he managed to get like from a local shop that had loads, one of these Caribbean shops that had like just a ridiculous amount of yams, and they just. Basically, they're throwing it all out, and it was like a ridiculous amount of yams, and he just chucked all the yams, and the worms absolutely went crazy for it. And I was struggling with my compost bin, and he just gave me like a little piece of like rotting yam with like about 20 like worms in it, and I just put it in my compost, and it's just sorted it out now. But he's the other really interesting thing that he's experimenting with, because he's really doing a lot of research about creating, a really amazing compost through actually composting and in his wormery using herbs, so particular herbs that are kind of rotted down, and then the quality that will bring to the soil for then to grow vegetables and plants and medicinal plants that really optimize the nutritional value and the medicinal value just by thinking about how you compost.
Also, if I don't know whether you know about this plant, moringa.
No. Moringa
oleifera. Moringa oleifera. Check it up on Wikipedia. If you use moringa oleifera, it's a very, very good. It's a multivitamin plant. Okay, it grows in sub-Saharan regions.
So you won't be able to grow it in this country, do you think? You don't think?
I don't know whether it was sub-Saharan India, warmer climate. Basically, they'll grow, but it's not the quality. The multivitamins, they don't just come from the seed. The seed can be used as a water purifier as well.
Oh, really?
Also, if you use the seed and you spray your plants with the liquid from the seeds, you actually get up to about 15 to 20% bigger fruit.
No way, really?
Yeah, I'm being serious. Yeah, moringa oleifera. Yeah.
Oh, that's.
And the root system develops.
Have a name at all?
I'll just type it out on the chat.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Nerys, can I just, gentlemen, please, Nerys, you have Paul on the line, the gentleman that came up to the camp with his super compost. I don't really know what to call it.
Yeah. Hi, Paul.
And also if you use...
Just hang on a minute, BJ, please. BJ?
Yeah, let Paul speak, because he's probably got something to say about this condition of soil, haven't you, Paul?
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, I've only come into the conversation 10 minutes ago, but picking up on a lot of stuff. See, as we were talking about Bokashi composting the other day, and biochar, all of the things apply that you're talking about as far as your quality of compost goes. Bokashi composting is the fermentation process, so everything is ready in 2 weeks. So you can really get into, with your food waste and with any like green manures like comfrey and whatnot, you can really start to get into that alchemy of the soil and the plants. And the thing is with the Bokashi composting, basically the base of it is what's known as EM technology, which is it's a bit of an odd term really for what it is. But basically it's an all-encompassing holistic approach to life, if you like.
Oh wow.
Well, it is really, yeah, because it comes into your home, and how you clean your home. The base juice is what I call the juice, the inoculant, the EM. You brew at home, you mix it with molasses, which is already a plant food in itself. And you put that into bran, you ferment it into your bran. I use coffee as well as a cheap way of doing that. I use a mix of bran and coffee, because it halves the cost of the production on buying. I'm going to buy the bran in. So I get that from coffee shops. It's a freebie. But it's also a very good soil amendment. Now, this is something I've been getting into myself for the last 2 years, and I've gone right into it. EM, I first came across it around the Waterways, a project in Japan. It's on YouTube, the cleaning of the Seto inland sea. So that was my first touch with it, if you like. That was about 12 years ago. I've actually started to work with it, so it's a self-promotion, yeah. But I won't give you the company name. I'll leave that to you if you want to. But it doesn't matter. What I'm talking about is basically with EM, you can clean your house with it. You can clean your clothes. There's actually a tincture that's being used, EMX, which is based on the microorganisms as well as seaweed, and it's pasteurized, and that's been used successfully with cancer treatment.
Really?
Yeah. Along with like naturally, the right diet and whatnot. But then you got that application, and it gets really funky because you can put it into concrete and cement, and it changes the nature of cement. It's the self-regenerating cement.
Really?
Cement is a term that is known as, and that's funny that's it. Yeah, that I heard that through not through the EM network, but that come from a guy who worked for CEMEX that I just happened to meet over New Year's Eve. So he works for one of the biggest cement companies in the world. It's a Mexican company, and the lad was Mexican. But that was a term that he threw at me. Oh yeah, self-regenerating cement, because what it does is it puts live microbes into the cement, and year in and year out, it gets stronger, it gets tougher, and it's also good for like mold and whatnot. So, but I've been a keen gardener for years, and I've been into my composting for years. I've got a wormery. I did it again today. They're all escaping because they're starving. So I'm not a very good worm farm, but I was on top of it. They got fed. But with the Bokashi composting in particular, it's very interesting because what it does is it inoculates the ground with a host of beneficial microorganisms and bacteria, which it's a probiotic. It's been coined a probiotic from Mother Nature, because what happens, you get enough of it into the ecosystem, it starts to deal with all sorts of degenerative situations caused by us. So the cleaning of the Seto Inland Sea brought the whole ecosystem back from point of systemic collapse, as seen on the chart if you watch the video on YouTube on it. So when I first saw that, I just thought this is unreal. I still find it difficult to kind of wrap my head around it that we actually have this thing now. A lot of the agriculture in I believe North Korea, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Burma, in Pakistan. Not all of it in Pakistan, but a lot of it in some of the previous countries. Pretty much all of the agriculture got turned organic using EM. And it's not like organic farming per se. It's natural farming using effective microorganisms. It just changes the game because you're ready to use all of your food waste, all of your agricultural waste, any manures coming out of the back of an animal in 6 weeks. I've just been working with one of my bokashi mixes today because I'm really getting into the bokashi mixes, you know, like the compost. And I think I was telling you the other day I've got a really rich mix. It's like donkey manure, which is at the end of our lane on the allotments, coffee, seaweed, and a host of other stuff. I won't go into the full list, but basically that will ferment your food waste down. But it's also a fertilizer in its own right if you just put it straight in the ground. So it's an interesting thing to be working with, very interesting. Yeah, you know, it's not been easy because it flies contrary to traditional way of doing things, and there's what I found is that even amongst like the organic farming kind of mentality within Manchester, even there it's kind of been difficult to get the point across of what it is. But basically it's going, and I've never known anything like it, because it is a bit of a panacea for the planet. You know, if we get enough of it into the water, it'll clean up the crap out of the water, and it also drops heavy metal levels massively by up to 50%, and that's just in the preliminary treatment. That's like take a load of dirty soil with heavy metals in, whack in the microorganisms, come back a couple of months later, test it, and the levels have dropped by 40-50%.
Wow.
Even radiation from the ground. They used it to treat farmland around the Fukushima prefecture after the atomic, you know, like accident, if you like, whatever. But it's you know, it is weird. It's a good way. The thing is really good news, and you know, the establishment are aware of it, like along with a lot of other stuff. But with this thing, no one's going to be able to stop it due to the bacterial nature of the very thing. There's loads of analogies with it for me on like how it works and what it deals with, and what we're facing as a planet with our ecosystems, because we have screwed it right up. You know, you can say, yeah, it's big business, and that's my view. It's not us per se. It's what's been forced down our throats for the last, you know, the practice that we've been forced to adopt. You're born into the system. These things are there. It's standard. It's being used. Whereas this thing, it rapidly readdresses toxicity due to basically over-oxidization of the planet and its, you know, and its ecosystems. This is a super antioxidant. Okay, that's.
Can I ask you what does it EM stand for?
Effective microorganisms.
Oh, is that? Oh, wow.
So basically, you got like the organisms are lactic acid, yeast, family of mycorrhizals, a family of bacteria called Actinomycetes, and what's the other one? Phototrophic bacteria. So you know, people are drinking it also. I mean, I do. I won't tell anybody else to do it, but I do. You know, the thing is, it's very. Imagine trying to work with this thing, sell something to how we are now, how we view the planet, and you know how we clean things. And say, right, you can clean your toilet with that, and you can also drink it, and it'll do a good job on both things. It'll compost your food waste down, and if you're painting a decorator, wax the ceramic into the painting.
God, that's incredible.
Hey?
Where do you get hold of it, or how do you produce it or cultivate it?
I'm selling it, but it's coming from, at the moment, it's coming from Holland, and it's coming from Spain, but it's a patented thing because it's, you know, it is what it is. It's come out of a university. It's a professor who developed it, but it's all over the world. what is it, like I say, it's taken me a couple of years. I've been working with it to like, you know, I'm really into this thing, man. It's like, this is something else, you know. It really is. It's something else. It's sci-fi. It's like, you know, with so much like doom and gloom and the planet's done and this and that and the other. It's like you wave a bottle of this around and tell people, look, in this bottle is like, you know, is a major resource it'll address. So basically, I can supply you, and you can brew it. It's very cheap. It's inexpensive. Really is inexpensive. It works in aquaponic systems. You know, it works in soil grown systems.
So, Bob, what were you saying about putting it in aquaponic systems?
I'm saying it can't and it shouldn't be put in. The amounts you're putting in aren't going to be beneficial to it at all. I wouldn't use it. It's brilliant stuff. I personally wouldn't use it in an aquaponic system. Aquaponic system needs nothing adding to it at all. Except for in the early stages, you could add seaweed extract because it contains no ammonia. You could use that in there, but that's it really. There's a lot of people saying that. As far as it being used as an enzyme to break stuff down, yeah, it seems to be really good stuff. I first came across a company in Holland maybe 10 years ago, Advanced Bacterial Cocktail, and they were predominantly based using... Felipe, can you mute your microphone for us, mate? Thank you. And they were predominantly based on using another enzyme which was sprayed upon the leaf, which increased the photosynthesis, basically. And that's what it did. It made the leaf far more efficient than what it was. So the idea of these things has been kicking around for a while. And funnily enough, as Paul said, it comes from Holland, and that's where they were from. But as I said, they weren't as successful as you would have thought. But they were based. They were based. Yeah, if we talk over one of Paul, the listeners can't actually hear us.
Sorry, mate. Go on.
It's okay. No worries. Just get used to it. Yeah, they were based within the hemp industry, or more so cannabis growing industry. And with using the abbreviation of bacterial advanced cocktail online, it actually spelled out bacon line. And people wouldn't use them from the United Kingdom. They thought they were a police operation set up to catch them. So, yeah... that is true. So yeah, they're still under the name of bacon lime, but they work on an enzyme which is sprayed upon, a natural enzyme they've grown, which is sprayed upon the leaf, and that increases photosynthesis. Again, if you can do it the way kind of Philippe's getting at and yourself, Nerys, we don't need to have accelerated, because it's an ongoing process. So yeah. Good stuff, though. It's good stuff. Definitely needs looking into further, I'd say.
Yeah, well, Paul very kindly gave me some inoculated sawdust, so I'm gonna have a go with it. I'll take some photos and let everyone know how it goes. So, yeah, I'm coming up to Nettlefest next week, so I've got all that going on at the minute. So all my experimenting's got to stop until after Nettlefest. I think I'm echoing back again. I don't like that. It's horrible hearing yourself.
Can I just come in again, please? Yeah. On that. Yeah, what it is it's not from Holland, just to clarify that point. And as Bob says, you don't need to put anything into your aquaponic system other than food once it's going. But it's actually used as the preliminary bacterial inoculant to get the bacterial colony going in order to break down the ammonia into nitrates. The bacteria, specific bacteria within it, is the phototrophic bacteria. That's a number of it's a family of bacteria, and that's what helps the plant photosynthesize. And the thing is with EM is it's been kicking around for the last 20 years, since the early 80s, but it isn't this thing. This is something different. You know, this has been shown time and time again to be, you know, doing the job, doing what it says it does on the bottle.
And now, broadcasting from multiple ground stations across the planet, this is Dark City Radio.